This is Sybert signing into Red Alert 3 on the map BattleBase Beta. And in the bottom left side, the yellow allied player, this is Vindies. In the top right side, this is H&M. I don't think this guy is a smurf for anyone. I did indeed smurf check him, but I didn't recognize any of the other names. So anyways, I'm going to call him H&M. He seems to be a pretty solid allied player. Other than that, you know, whatever. So I don't know if he is someone in particular. I haven't actually seen really any games of him. I saw basically a 3v3. And other than that, I don't think I've seen this guy at all. Vindies is, of course, a pretty tip-top allied player at the current moment. I'm not saying he's, you know, one of the best of all time, but it certainly is a good player. He's got lots of fancy tricks up his sleeve. He has got a lot of character and a lot of personality to his play style. And, of course, he does fun-loving things that other people just don't do. It's BattleBase Beta. We get to kick it off, especially in a... that was an interesting sentence. Especially in an AVA, we get to kick it off with a lot of peacekeepers just heading into the buildings. And, of course, there's various strategies that you can try to go for in this sort of situation. But basically, you want to stream peacekeepers into one of the buildings. And then when you're full, you stream peacekeepers into your opponent's building, but also into your own building to reinforce it while your opponent is streaming their peacekeepers into your building. And if you have extra peacekeepers, you can station them out front to try to knock away the peacekeepers of your opponent. And from what I can tell, having never played an AVA at a high level, never played any game at a high level, let's be honest, that's kind of the strats. So, pretty pro strats, pretty jank memes in the middle of the map. As everyone knows, BattleBase Beta, that is what it's about. We do indeed have third refinery choices for each player. H&M going to the water, Vindies going to the land, but he could be doing the thing where you deploy the MCV somewhere around there so you can still reach, actually it might actually be further out, where you can still reach this third refinery, but you can also turret push, you know, way out into the middle of the map. Probably not that far, it's like, you know, there or something. And so you can kind of take a third and then go ahead and turret push your opponent and win the game. GG, because turret pushes are pretty strong. No, just kidding. I mean, they are strong, but it's not just instant win or anything like that. Peacekeepers from both of these players going to be the focus, and in some cases, AVAs just sort of turn into peacekeepers and sometimes other units sort of matchups. You just see like, oh, hey, there's a lot of peacekeepers, and they didn't really build anything else. That's not the most interesting. Peacekeeper Riot Shield micro can be fun to watch. It's less impressive when it's like one peacekeeper versus one peacekeeper, but when it's groups of peacekeepers versus groups of peacekeepers, watching some of those top-end guys control with much better precision than I have which peacekeepers to send to riot shields, which to keep firing, because of course if you turn them all to riot shields, that doesn't really do very much unless you know you're for sure 100% going to be losing that battle. Airfield going to be going down after that third refinery. Vindies, on the other hand, they're going to be a little bit more delayed with whatever his tech choice or unit production facility choice is. He's kept along both of those racks, which, I mean, normally you don't keep the double racks around for too long. Airfield going to be going down because, hey, he's playing allies. Airfield is pretty good. Tier 2 is up. Cryocopter probably on the way. And oil derrick sniping, always something that is fun to do. In this particular case, Vindies is going to be potentially sniping the oil derrick of his opponent, spreading some peacekeepers out around the map. H&M, of course, would like to keep onto this oil derrick. It's not a tremendous amount of income, but it does add up over time as an additional dog going to be coming out from H&M, potentially just for that scouting. Cryocopter going to be moving out to potentially the left side of the base or map, and if it does get spotted by that building, that's, of course, a pretty big indicator to Vindies, like, okay, I'm pretty sure I know exactly what my opponent did. There's the MCV of Vindies, because once he sees that, he's like, all right, you went airfield over... Well, you went airfield, and of course you got tier 2, so you probably did indeed take that third refinery by the water. And that cryocopter does pretty much fly right past that building. I'm assuming Vindies saw it, but it's possible that he did not, that it just slipped by his vision, as boot camp going to be going down, and also a wall, it looks like, for Vindies. Just going to be trying to secure himself onto this high ground. Vindicator coming in for H&M, going for that bombing run. We'll be able to deal with one of the harvesters of Vindies. And Vindies going to be bombing Peacekeepers out one by one as they do come out. Nice economic harassment coming out from H&M, of course, very cost efficient to just use a single cryocopter and a single Vindicator. In this case, Vindy's going to be targeting down that Vindicator. He gets something for his trouble, which is better than nothing. And in this case, Vindy's may not want to stick around too long. Oh, he definitely doesn't want to stick around, but can he actually escape? No, he cannot. Ends up losing one of his Apollos. The second one is going to be showing up. Will end up going down if it sticks around in this fight for too much longer. Needs to get those repairs. Needs to be joined up by a buddy. And, of course, in this situation, Vindies, he needs to land that. He does absorb a little bit of damage, but it doesn't actually do anything in that particular case. Sometimes you'll see players, like, throw in a Vindicator to try to absorb some shots from their opponent's Apollos, while their own Apollos end up shredding their opponent's Apollos. In this case, H&M seems to just be outplaying Vindies a little bit there with the Apollos, just actually packing along a couple of extra Apollos. Vindy's, on the other hand, going to be potentially looking for a bit of a Peacekeeper push, but he's more concerned with these Apollos. Cryo shot going to be firing off. Vindy's responds quickly enough and pulls back his Peacekeepers. And actually, if H&M isn't careful, never mind, he doesn't step into his own cryo shot. That would be quite annoying as the Vindicator going to be getting frozen down. And H&M going to start to pick Vindy's apart with cryocopters being his own tool. Poor Vindies has to deal with some of his own medicine, as I've seen Vindies tear apart so many players with cryocopters and just absolutely destroy them and shut them down in almost an abusive way, but, you know, in a way that demonstrates good control. And now H&M doing that exact same thing to Vindies. Vindies can't quite take an additional refinery, and of course, with all of his refineries getting shut down kind of repeatedly, he's having a hard time doing too much. Cryo shot fires off, locks down one harvester. Vindies evacuates with a Peacekeeper, and well, this wall might actually save that prospector, as it does not need to, because the Vindicator comes in. Very nice save from H&M, as in the middle we do have Peacekeepers from Vindies. Just a huge cloud of infantry going to be stepping forward, and of course, he doesn't need a whole lot of support with these Peacekeepers to actually break down these walls and then to start shredding these actual structures. As Vindicators, no Apollos on the left side, going to be moving forward. No cryocopters just yet. Vindicator moving in for H&M. He's like, hey, what exactly do you have on the high ground? Hey, let me go ahead and kill off that Javelin Trooper. Very nice. We'll be able to clean that up without too much trouble. Apollo's going to be running guard on this airfield. If Vindies is careful and he gets, you know, a couple of Apollos of his own with the repairs, he can, of course, tear through the Apollos of his opponent. 2 Javelin Troopers, well, you need at least a couple of Vindicators to tear those guys down. And once the wall is down, once that area is breached, and very nice bomb splitting, he will clean up both of those Javelin Troopers with just the one Vindicator. Vindy's going to be almost walking into a trap there, as he will end up potentially losing a heroic Peacekeeper. And nice crushes coming out with that one single Prospector. Will get some nice kills. Actually ends up going Veteran and allows H&M to step forward with his own Peacekeepers. The double play while the Riptide pushes in from another front. And Vindies is just being pushed and pulled almost apart. Not quite to pieces, because H&M is still just sort of cornered up in this one part of the map, but he does have those 4 refineries. He's playing the defensive game pretty nicely. Not nicely enough, as Vindy's up to 4 Apollos, so he'll almost always win those air battles as long as he's got relatively high HP Apollos. And now that H&M is on 2 airfields, he can start to get to that overwhelming amount of aircraft. Vindy's in an awkward situation. Most likely... Wait, where's his MCV? I'm not actually sure where his MCV ended up going. It's in the middle of the map. He may need to be pulling that back. There isn't a scary number of Peacekeepers, but there is certainly a fair few Peacekeepers in the middle of the map. It's not like they're just going to surround and one-shot this MCV, but they are going to be loading up into the Riptides. Is enough to load them up into just the 2 Riptides. MCV looking for a good angle to just swoop down and crush one of those now very expensive Riptides. Almost going to be getting the Riptide on the right, but won't quite get the kill. Vindies with one single Peacekeeper. He's like, hey, I'm going to break down this one refinery. Oh, H&M never actually rebuilt that harvester. A little bit of a mistake from him, a bit of an amateur mistake, if you will. Not really remembering to put that guy back to work. And would like to be on that 4 refinery economy, is only going to be instead on that 3 refinery. Cryoblast going to be firing off, and this will allow Vindies to break through that refinery. Nope, forces the sell-off of the refinery. Almost as good, but not quite as good, as Vindies going to be forced to pull back and run defense for his own main base. He's going to be pushing forward. Cryoblast firing off for H&M will allow him to quickly snipe down this refinery. There's the kill, and Vindies pulling his MCV to try to run this defense and crush these units. Will force the Riptides out to the water as he cleans house with the rest of the Peacekeepers. A couple of heroic Peacekeepers could do some serious damage, but now it's 2v1, and Vindies can win that battle quite nicely. Reverse move is going to be coming in. Elite, heroic. 2 Peacekeepers do go down, but 2 Riptides could be going down as well. MCV goes on the monster truck. Rally is going to be crushing through one of those Riptides quite easily, and Vindies, he is certainly not out of it yet, but he has to deal with 7 Apollos, the 7 Apollo, 1 Vindicator, and then however many cryocopters you can afford. Composition, double airfield, about as standard as it goes for AVA, or at least when you get double airfield in AVA, typically you get the 7 Apollos, is what I was trying to say, or at least in the cases that I see. Maybe I'm missing some games where players go for different things, but a couple of Javelin Troopers in that structure, going to be nice, one of them at least, and it is heroic, so that's also nice, going to be doing that extra bit of damage. H&M snipes down a Vindicator, will end up sniping down a couple of Apollos, may end up being worth it even if he trades out against or with that Cryocopter as he cleans up a second Apollo. Vindicator going to be coming in with this Cryocopter, doing that extra bit of damage. Vindies, has he been able to reestablish anything? Well, not quite. He hasn't lost a whole lot of infrastructure. He's just been harassed throughout the majority of this game, which is quite nice for him. He hasn't, taken just huge, unwinnable amounts of damage. He's just probably a fair bit behind, especially with all of these harvesters that he keeps on losing. Another power plant going to be going down. Harvesters back on the line. They need to be getting to work, as he would really like to be benefiting from that 4 refinery economy. Potentially a misclick building that extra harvester there, or it could be for a bit of an expansion point so he can, get up some necessary base defenses if he would like. Riptide going to be pulling back. That guy has been around for quite a little while. He's seen quite a bit of action. And H&M looking for advantages, looking to do damage pretty much any which way that he can. Peacekeepers also going to be moving forward for Vindies. They'd like to be able to shut down this little pocket of base, but with this Rax constantly pumping out reinforcements, they won't quite be able to do even that. 1 Peacekeeper does get eliminated. 1 ends up going to that veteran status. Second Rax will be getting established for H&M. He really wants to punch out these infantry forces, selling off one of them, but Cryocopter now here for support is going to make this a whole lot more difficult for Vindies. A couple of Javelin Troopers and an Apollo may be able to snipe down this Cryocopter. No! There's the save by our friend H&M as he steps forward, snatches down those Apollos, and is able to clear the skies really quite nicely. H&M saving just the extra units here and there. Very nice. Oh, another Cryoblast going to be firing off, eliminating that refinery. And Vindies has done quite a bit with Cryoblast, quite a bit of damage, I should say, with Cryoblast. Ooh, H&M, please don't donate away your Apollos. 1 isn't too bad. Donating just a single Apollo is not too terrible. Of course, he would always love to keep those guys alive as much as possible. But, that's not the worst thing in the world. H&M going to be moving forward with his MCV. Just single Vindicator over there. Doesn't quite have the build radius to go ahead and establish that extra refinery. Will have to build himself an extra prospector or pull his MCV all the way over there. The single racks from Vindies going to be getting shut down. As Vindies, what is his game plan? He has reestablished himself in his main base, rebuilt his refineries, and he's taken the water refinery as well. So he's going to be sitting on that 4 refinery economy, needs to get himself up a power plant, which is most likely his current objective. And then, of course, after that, He's going to be looking to potentially move on up the tech tree. Apparently, this MCV is somehow only tier 1, which I'm actually kind of surprised by. I guess he hasn't actually built any cryocopters. It's all just been cryo shot, cryo blast, that sort of thing. As Vindies, I'm kind of surprised by that. At any rate, we do have Vindicator going to be coming in running a... No! Won't actually be able to do anything to save that one prospector. Vindies, with just the single Riptide, will get the kill very nicely there on that Harvester. Busting out a little bit of harassment of his own is Vindies. But this extra refinery getting established will bring H&M back up to that coveted 4 refinery economy, which will be very nice, although technically it's only 3 harvesting refineries by H&M. H&M is his goal to tech up, go into vehicles, and then start going for Athena cannons and starting to push with those artillery. Could be his game plan. Artillery and Athena cannons always going to be very useful in an AVA. Vindies definitely needs to get his tech on. He's now up to tier 2, and he's going Assault Destroyers. An interesting choice for sure. Not something that I really expected to see at this point, but Vindies has done some good work with Assault Destroyers in the past, which is not too surprising. And, oh, no, the Apollos won't take too much more latent damage from those Javelin Troopers. Oh, that Vindicator. It's probably not that important of a Vindicator, but that Vindicator almost going down. Oh, these Peacekeepers. These Peacekeepers, if they don't realize that Spy is not one of them and they clump up, that could be a very money purchase. But no, it's going to be the Cryogeddon firing off for Vindies. And of course, anytime an allied player fires off their Cryogeddon, you have to be wondering, where's the other guy's Cryogeddon? As Vindies crushes through the front line assault of H&M, and H&M now going to be getting pushed potentially back. Vindies stepping forward with Javelin Troopers, realizing that's a bit of a mistake. He does not need to be that bold. Our mate's allied player, as that one Dolphin, he is going to be on a mission to do some killing. He is on a life mission, potentially. Good way to keep a Spy alive, I guess. Drop it inside of the... no, actually, that Spy's peacing out. He's potentially going to be looking to try to infect something over here, potentially go for this refinery. Is definitely something that I would expect. Anytime you see a Peacekeeper swimming, it has to draw some sort of questions. Vindicator going to be coming in, will end up dropping some bombs, but doesn't end up really doing all that much. Cryogeddon fires off for H&M, and he's going to be pushing forward. But Vindies, no, he steps forward with his own Peacekeepers, trying to claim as many lives as he can, as Cryocopter's going to be stepping up for H&M to do that little bit of damage and a little bit of lockdown to allow H&M to continue to push forward. But it's only really Javelin Troopers, which means mostly if these Peacekeepers can actually get some shots off, they will shred through those Javelin Troopers. And no, Vindies went for the power plant. Interesting. So he ended up locking down the power of H&M. Would have been interesting if that was kind of working in tandem with another attack. I guess that Dolphin ended up getting cleaned up. It looked like the Shadow was still on the bottom of the sea floor there. On the left side, though. Oh! Hey-oh! This is a bit of a game changer. Vindies pushing on the right side. The Assault Destroyer is going to be adding that bit of armor, that bit of advanced weaponry, as the Peacekeepers just shred through potentially the forces of H&M. H&M going for the repeat shrinks. He needs to keep his forces alive, and trying to shrink down those Assault Destroyers to be less effective is one way to try to do it. As Vindies going to be pushing forward, sniping down one power plant on the left side, pushing with the right, but he doesn't have enough to actually push forward and take everything. H&M holds. He's able to stand strong thus far. Can H&M actually keep this up, though? H&M has pushed Vindies back, but can H&M himself take any actual grounds forward in this game? It looks like he's still powered down, going to be forced to sell off one of those multi-gunner turrets. Still not even enough to bring him back up. It will take a sell of a multi-gunner turret and a power plant to actually get back online. Vindies, such a good, wise move going for those aircraft carriers, allowing him to just take down those structures pretty darn quickly. He has to worry quite a bit about cryocopters. A single Vindicator, single cryocopter could do some serious damage to those expensive aircraft carriers. And, well, that's exactly what we're seeing as Vindies. He is, he's going to be going for a slightly different plan. Goodbye, Seaport. It does get eliminated, but now the Apollo's going to be rushing in, and of course, their job is to just push away any anti-air of Vindies. And this EMP missile will end up locking down the aircraft carrier of Vindies. 3 cryocopters being split between different targets. Vindies does not have the numbers to deal with the Apollos of H&M. Middle of the map, H&M. He's just holding there with a couple of peacekeepers. Vindies, but he can't do anything about these cryocopters, really. Vindies trying to do something, and actually, all 3 of those bombs did not need to be used on that hydrofoil. Oh! Oh! Okay, then. Well, Vindies with the money Cryogeddon, and now he's getting Cryogeddoned himself. The nice thing is that they are on this side of the Cryogeddon. They are not near his opponent's units, so he has to kind of wait for that to cool off. But H&M pushing forward. Just breaking apart so many units. The slaughter is... Oh, the slaughter is not enough as an aircraft carrier actually survived. No, never mind. Maybe? No. Very nicely done by that Vindicator. Wait a second. Tanya, using her chrono time belt out on the field, is going to be getting locked down and eliminated. Never mind. Tanya's dead. We've seen some sick Tanya plays in the past. I wanted to say some sick Tanya plays. Didn't quite work out in the past. In this case, it's not actually going to happen. Apollos from Vindies, they're going down. Oh, look at that. Splashing onto a couple of those Javelin Troopers. Doesn't really do that much damage, but Vindies Air Force getting absolutely destroyed. Vindies on the ground getting absolutely shot to pieces as finally his position in the middle of the map has been broken. H&M making some sort of progress through the center of BattleBase Beta. Vindies is not done. He's got Assault Destroyers going to be moving forward, and he also does have 2 lovely superpowers going to be coming up, super weapons rather, going to be coming up in a little while. We've seen Vindies in some previous games do some pretty crazy things with chrono weapons. Chronosphere, particularly, going to be pulling units here and there, using them to destroy large amounts of bullfrogs of his opponents. And of course, this could very well turn into Athena cannon wars between these 2 players. Having the advantage in Athena cannons isn't always the only thing that you need, because of course aircraft carriers going to be providing that extra bit of damage, and of course that alternate form of ranged artillery. Or, yeah, I guess just artillery. Ranged artillery is probably a bit redundant. Apollo's going to be coming in, trying to save this, well, trying to save the cryocopters while they do take down that aircraft carrier. Apollo going to be getting pushed away. H&M is going to be walking down Vindies' ramp. Vindies' main base, will it be broken? He fires cryo shot. Aegis shield will be enough. 2 Aegis shields will be enough to save some of these units. And there's the push forward from Vindies. He wants to get on top of these forces, and on top of them he will get, but the 1 Mirage tank, it may not be enough to actually push through here, as Cryogeddon going to be firing off Aegis shield for Vindies on a shrunk down Athena cannons. May not actually be enough to absorb that entire area. There's the Chronosphere eliminating a fair few of those infantry, and there's a lot of the attacking force of his opponent, as Vindies going to be killing off those units, pushing up the map. And the cryocopters, can they actually stop these forces? 1 Athena cannon on the front line, but 2 on the backup, and another minute and a half until the Proton Collider is indeed ready to fire. Vindies pushing up the ramp, and can he actually take down H&M on the front line? He's starting to wear away at the Athena cannons. H&M calling the retreat, and this does open up opportunities for Vindies. Now, Vindies, does he actually have any aircraft carriers A blackout missile into these engagements could be absolutely game-winning. Similarly, H&M, well, protecting against those EMP blackout missiles by killing off the aircraft carriers is always a good idea. Vindies pushing forward. 4 cryocopters for our friend H&M. That's quite a fair few cryocopters. 30 seconds left on that Proton Collider aircraft carrier moving forward. Aegis Shield once again getting popped to protect these units. Cryocopter's going to be coming in for H&M, firing off those shrink rays, trying to nullify some of the damage. And actually a precision bomber coming in, taking out 2 Athena cannons, but Vindies loses 2 of his own. The Remax is on Peacekeepers for H&M, as he's once again going to be walking down Vindies' ramp. A couple of fully heroic Peacekeepers mixed into this army, but Vindies, his Proton Collider, fires off. I'm assuming right there, as it does indeed claim the lives of a couple of Peacekeepers. One Athena cannon goes down as well. The other one looks like it was able to escape. Vindies firing off that Proton Collider in a defensive measure, but he's only got 55 seconds to hold on until he is able to fire off his Chronosphere once again. Unfortunately, he can't chrono air units, as he's going to be targeting down cryocopters. 2 do go down. A third could be killed as well. If he just focus fires, he gets 3, and that's a lot of invested unit, or that's a lot of invested money now in dead units. Time bomb going to be getting placed by H&M. Vindies will have to avoid that area, and it could clean up both of these structures, as if they're low on HP, it will be enough to finish them off. Cryoblast going to be once again firing off for Vindies, but it's stopped by the Aegis Shield at just about the last possible second for H&M. He's barely holding on with this attack. He's barely staying alive. Apollo's flying over 2. Well, 1 fully heroic, whatever that is, as we do indeed have Cryogeddon once again going to be firing off, but the EMP blackout missile locking down all 3 of the Athena cannons, and this is just Javelin troopers, which will be absolutely shredded by those, well, by the Peacekeepers, and that was simply not enough. Vindies not able to hold the line, and H&M will take that game. Unless I am mistaken, GG gets called, and Vindies, after, well, about 27 minutes, not quite going to be able to hack it, not quite going to be able to make it work. And on that resources graph, Vindies, I do believe, was kind of in the lead, but no, hardly in the lead at all. H&M actually going to be just barely ahead of Vindies for pretty much the entirety of that game. In total, almost 130k collected by both teams, and Vindies and H&M with a very exciting AVA on BattleBase Beta. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you all very much for watching, and this is Sybert, signing out.